Hello, I'm George Wang, Chief Marketing Officer with Peterson Technology Partners, and today we have Grant Ecker, Vice President of Global Enterprise Architecture with Walgreens Booth Alliance. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. Good to see you.
Likewise, great to be here.
So I understand today you're going to talk about enterprise architecture specifically and being kind of the chief coach and the chief family counselor, which is very, very interesting to me. Tell me more about what it is to play that role.
People often think, oh, wow, okay, you're the chief architect. That means you have all the answers of what an organization is trying to build in terms of their IT infrastructure, their cloud, their data and analytics, name it, right? Everything cool, that chief architect better know the answer to, right? Well, couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is my role is to activate a technical community, right? To bring people together to maximize the knowledge and the experience that exists across the entire organization. And I do that with two key roles. The chief coach, which is a point of pride for me. I really enjoy coaching as a discipline. I've actually even taken the adventure to get certified as an executive coach. I see my role as the key activator and enabler of talent across the IT organization, right? It's not about what I know, it's about what questions I can ask to help people find their path to the answer. Framing the challenge, framing the what, until it gets to a frame that fits somebody else's experience, and then empowering them with powerful questions that allow them to really create in that space, leveraging their domain and expertise. And it goes a step further than that too, because I expect architect leaders and even subject matter experts to carry that behavior forward. Once the frame of expertise is kind of something they notice, hey, there's somebody who has an even deeper knowledge than I do on this topic, let's bring them into the conversation. Let's have them play that role to fill in their piece of the overall enterprise puzzle. And that will allow us to be building a holistic solution while at the same time bringing people along and giving them a puzzle piece to plug into the enterprise puzzle. So that's the coaching concept, right? It's really about maximizing the view. The other piece is around the chief family counselor. And that is about connecting my peers, right? When two senior leaders are maybe at odds on one wants to go left, one wants to go right, we can bring them together and have them start to understand each other's point of view with technologists bringing a viewpoint from the bottom up that is a kind of an equilibrium setter. I help people find the challenge they have in common and the approaches they have in common so that what might otherwise be a religious debate can really start to get centered in facts, information, and context around where the organization is heading at large and bring two disagreeing parties together.
I've been following Walgreens for quite some time, and if you think about the organization, there's a new CEO, and then several years ago, you had two large organizations come together with Walgreens here in the US and Booth in the UK. Certainly, when those organizations came together, you became very much a global company with global aspirations and global priorities. And now with the new CEO, what you mentioned about what's important to you or what is the ask, within that framework and context, how do you see kind of architecture facilitate or really enhancing that whole business dimension of a new leader, a new kind of, well, not as much new organization coming together?
That's a great question. And the other piece is with that organization that's coming together, what are some of the key things we're trying to do in transforming our organization? Which is one of the key things architecture does for an organization, right? It's not so much about keeping the lights on. You don't need a super robust organization to do that if you're just going to create the same widgets and sprockets over year after year, right? It's about how do we transform and pivot what we're doing to achieve something new. So in the case of WBA, we're looking to digitize our business like many of our peers, right? And when I sit through the company meetings, it's not the usual business update after business update with us, maybe a mention of IT if you're lucky. You can correlate IT directly to the strategy of where the organization is going in almost every update I hear. And when you think about that, each of those things then has the potential to have a strategic transformation engine behind it that IT can be a part of. So that's where I see the biggest opportunity. And it's the fact that we've come together in these organizations, and now we have the opportunity to synergize, which again I'll kind of equate back to sort of cleaning your room, right? How do we make Boots more like Walgreens and Walgreens more like Boots to leverage and gain synergy from our scale? But in the current moment, that work is important. But the work that's most important is how do we transform both companies with synergies of scale, as opposed to two static objects we want to make more similar? How do we take a triangle and a rhombus on their journey to become a circle and help them both get there together, with sort of the transformation being the synergy as opposed to the static moment that we sit in?
That's a great analogy using geometry. I really like that. Grant, if there were two or three things that you could share with your audience who were interested in kind of elevating and evolving architecture, what might be those two or three practical steps that they can take?
Well, the first is, relieve your ego at the door. Get used to being wrong a lot. There's a lot of smarter people in the organization that know a lot more, and that is not a threat. That is an asset. And the way to really leverage that asset is to bring people together, create a sense of belonging. That's the most important thing. You want architects in the technical community to feel valued, feel like they belong, feel appreciated, feel cared about, and realize accomplishments together through their passion and creativity. If you can create that environment, the sky is the limit of what you can do. And the way you do that is through your genuine engagement, to create partnerships, with your CIO's staff, and to build those partnerships in your staff and within the staff of those stakeholders, to bring people together and show people 1+1 = 3. It starts with a belief in your heart that this is something where we can be bigger together, and it ends in that belief being throughout the entire IT organization, and them seeing this as a place that's just another home for them to contribute and have their technology voice and leadership heard.
Well, Grant, thank you again for your time. Thank you.